Welcome to another episode of Bank on It. I'm here to chat to Azhar and Dumi. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
So we're here in a branch at Capitec headquarters. Take us through how this came about and what it's like having client service deeply entrenched in the business, so committed to client service.
I think I'm going to start with why this branch exists first, if you don't mind. So the look and feel is exactly the same as any of the other 880 branches out there. We do a lot of our development and testing in this branch. So before something goes out to market, you want to test something, we specifically do it because we want feedback from the service consultants on what will work and not work. And to give you context, there's 10,000 service consultants and Bank Better champions out there. And their sole purpose is to make sure that we simplify the lives of our clients. So yeah, this is almost a testing ground for us.
Dumi, how do you feel when you walk in and the first thing you see is 10,000 people? And what goes through your mind when you think about service, retail, and operational excellence?
Well, this gives us a very good idea of what to roll out in the branches. If you test the queuing system, you test it here. What we're always cautious of, we are aware that the population at head office is a little bit different from the rest of the population in the rural areas of the country. So we try and do branch visits as well in the real environment, just to balance what we see at head office with what's happening out there on the field.
I love the fact that you pointed that out in terms of the client demographic versus the person serving you, right? And as a bank, you've done such an excellent job of hyper-personalization and localization. And Azhar, I'll bring you in on this. How do you balance making sure the people serving the communities are representative of those communities?
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, I think it's important to understand the numbers so the context will matter then. We serve between 4 and 4.5 million clients in our branches every month. And then on our self-service terminals, another 4 million clients and 17 million at the ATM queues alone.
Wow.
You don't do that without having a deep connection to your clients. So it's all designed in that the service consultants that work in our branches come from the communities that we serve in. And that in its way creates a really good relationship between the client and the SC. We might be speaking English here at the head office, but I can assure you in the branches out there, all across the country, we use the vernacular of our clients, and that's how our SCs connect to them. They come from their families, they contribute to the communities, and I'll talk a bit about that just now as well. But everyone and anyone knows their names as well, which makes a huge difference to having this personal experience right on your doorstep.
The thing that you might not have noticed as you walk in the branch, the greeting is in all 11 official languages. Hello, Molweni, Sawubona, Dumelang, Avsheni. And the way the previous CEO coined it, Ryan Stassen, he said Capitec is the bank for the community by members of the community.
That's incredible. And let's tie that into the impact, the decision that a person makes in South Africa to use a bank. Because it's quite a big decision, right, with a lot of gravity behind it. So Azhar, I know you have figures underpinning this, right? What's the difference between a good decision on a bank and a bad decision? How much can it cost someone, just roughly?
I'll use an average client that earns between 10 and 15,000 Rand a month, right? If the client banks with us, if they take out insurance with us, if they have credit with us, all of the fees and the charges that they save compared to doing it in any other bank or financial institution is equivalent to 1 to 1,500 Rand. Now just think about that. You earn 10,000 Rand, you save at least 10% of your salary because you're paying less with Capitec compared to anyone else. That makes a meaningful difference. Now, why that matters is if you speak to those clients, almost 80% of them plow that money back into their families and predominantly into education. And I don't mean their direct families, I mean their families within the construct of the communities. Our service consultants know this. So when we position a product to you, we do it with the intention of the amount that you're going to save or the value you're going to get from it, because we know what difference it's going to make. I mean, the most amazing stories you get from the branches is when someone comes back to just say, thank you. You've made a difference because I can actually take more of my kids to school, I can formalize more of their education, and I can do so much more in my community as well.
Yeah. So it's been incredibly inspiring just following your journeys and reading up about it, and I'm really keen to get a sense of how your journey at Capitec has shaped your leadership journey over the years, and more importantly, how you see your leadership style evolving based on your journey at Capitec. It's a tough question, but I'll start off with you, Azhar.
Look, I think it's not, individually we haven't achieved anything. Or everything we've achieved is collectively as a bank, and so that's important, that we, underpinning the way that we work, everything is actually about the team, even in the way we measure in the branches, and we recognize it's about the team firstly, right? The fortunate thing to win has had is that we've been exposed to different parts of the bank. So I started out in business development as an engineer, got the opportunity to work on a lot of products and a lot of processes and systems, which gives you an opportunity to really understand how things work in the back end. And so the simplicity that you see in the front end comes from a lot of technical work that happens in the back. But ultimately, you also want to learn how to lead. And you can't lead from sitting in the shadows. You actually need to just jump in. And that took up the opportunity to do some work in operations and get the chance to really understand leadership and people as well. But it's because I've had such good examples, people like Dumi and the leaders before him as well. And I think it's important that we hear from Dumi about his story, because Dumi actually started in our branches. And
yeah, for sure. I've been very fortunate and privileged in the past 25 years at Capitec. Interestingly, my journey started when I was still at school. I couldn't pay for varsity fees, and then I had to make a plan. So then I decided to switch and study in the evenings and work during the day, and there was FinAid at the time, which then became Capitec. I was 19 years at the time. I was very lucky to land this job. And then when I completed my studies, I became a branch manager in the Eastern Cape and then regional manager in different areas in the province. And then I moved to Gauteng still as a regional manager, worked as a business manager. Then suddenly what I've studied 8 years ago wasn't enough. And then I needed to go post-grad. And Capitec was kind to fund my post-grad studies at the time. And then I was promoted to a different role. 2016, I was in Gauteng and got a call from Hank Lawrence to ask if I was willing to move to Stellenbosch at head office. I wasn't sure if that's a thing we wanted to do. Just got married. Now you must tell your wife you're relocating to Stellenbosch, which proved to be a good move for my career. And Capitec is big on internal mobility.
That's an incredible story. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Azhar, I'll close off with you on pushing the ladder down and helping people on their way up. I know you're such a huge advocate for talent, mentorship, training, development, etc. Talk me through how you spend some of your time training people at an operational level or at any level, develop those leadership skills and executive skills to actually come up that curve.
Look, all of that happens by design.
Yeah.
So if you take all of the roles in operations and other parts of the bank, we're very, very specific about the capability development framework. And we actually make sure that all the skills that you need in order to do the job is clear. And then how do we make sure we provide the training so that that can be done. So there's quite a bit of work we do on skills building, particularly positioning to clients, really understanding our products, how to make a connection, how to make sure you know how the systems work, and we actually check against those things. Now, a big part of that is not what you learn theoretically, it's actually the shoulder-to-shoulder work you do in the branch. The preference has always been as a team. There's a problem that needs to be solved. It's not about the person, it's about what's the problem and how do we solve it from a client perspective. And that's been the recipe of our success thus far.
So client-centric leadership and experiential learning. Azhar, Dumi, thank you so much for this episode. I can't wait to see what you have planned next.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.